I think you kind of framed the dialogue around it. And, natural gas, if you look back 40 years ago, it was the booby prize of looking for oil. We didn't know what to do with it because it has such a low energy density. The elegance of natural gas and its curse, but we'll start with the elegance, is that it's very simple. It's CH4. It doesn't require refining the way oil does. It burns very cleanly. It is the most flexible of all our energy sources in terms of how we can use it. As you know, up until now, it's been used extensively in heating and cooling buildings. It has been the most dispatchable source of electricity, where coal and nuclear power plants are very rigid on the grid and take long periods of time to turn on and turn off. Combined cycle gas turbine power plants can be dispatched very quickly. And people throughout the renewable energy industry would say wind and solar would not be where they are today on the grid if we hadn't. So gas came on board in the electric power sector, played a gigantic role in displacing coal, which used to be the leading source of electricity and now has dropped very significantly, and we keep shutting down coal plants. So gas decarbonized coal, and gas is, until we build out much more storage, battery storage and pump hydro storage than we have, gas helps balance renewables on the grid. And we're going to develop more tools where that will be less necessary over time. But you bring up, people, understandably, we're afraid of the word fracking and hydraulic fracturing, and that's a little bit of a sidebar, but I think I can give people a lot of comfort that the net impact of horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing has been very positive. The concern around natural gas is leakage throughout in the ways you described, like flaring doesn't have 100% efficacy. Just venting natural gas into the atmosphere, that's not okay. But our great challenge, which is part of the innovation story you and I are going to be talking about, is that you can't manage things you can't see. And we couldn't see methane leakage until recently. And now we have dedicated satellites that are up recently or going up. I just saw someone for dinner 2 nights ago whose family has been a major philanthropic force behind some of the dedicated methane satellites that are going up. So the fidelity and cost and continuous monitoring nature of many things, but methane is number one on my list, is we didn't have the tools, and we just do in the last few years, and we're building it out right now. So it's the tools to collect the data with high fidelity and relatively low cost of where is the methane, and to be able to watch it over time. So it's satellites, it's drones, it's flyovers, it's sensors on the ground, and it's cameras. And you're saying, well, why does Jane know about this? Well, I was invited 3 years ago to join the board of one of many companies in this space, but one I'm very proud of, called Project Canary. And Project Canary it's a company, one of many, because this nascent space is being enabled by the data collection and the ways I just described, but also once you have all that data, where do you put it? So now we have cloud platforms, and those cloud platforms have the AI and the machine learning to take all that data and turn it into useful operating information, because it turns out the midstream and the upstream and the downstream, because we have those three, upstream's where we produce it, midstream's where we move it, and downstream's where we use it. The truth is, the people who are moving that gas, they want to make money off it. They don't want to lose it, but they have, in many cases, they can't see what they're losing. And the tools to see it, to measure it, to track it, and a really interesting force, Lori, that was an interesting consequence of the Ukrainian-Russian conflict is, Europe has been very dependent on Russian gas, and this crisis put Europe in a place where they've started importing a lot of US LNG, and they started saying, we want the tankers of LNG to be responsibly sourced gas. So that market force to basically create a certification and registration of gas for lack of leakage in the system it's moving through is much like the early days of certifying organic food or something like that. And now we see in aviation fuel, there's a big movement for SAF, sustainable aviation fuel. So it's a big, important topic, and it's something I love talking to students about. So we need natural gas, but we need to manage at least as a transition, but we need to manage the leakage.